He was fighting for his life. His body was giving up, but his spirit was struggling to complete the last mission to ensure security of his country.
Now. No.
Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. So it all kicks off at CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. There, an agent named Vivi is in a meeting with her boss and another guy. Their main focus is a shady character named Wolfgang Brown. Everyone just calls him the Wolf. This guy is busy trying to sell weapons to terrorist groups, and he's working alongside his partner, a guy named Bew. Vivi's job? Track both of them down and take them out. She asks who's fit for a job this serious, and the name that pops up is Ethan Renner. Right now, he's in Paris at a hotel with another CIA agent, Yasmin. They're supposed to take out Bew, who's about to meet up with some Serbian guys for a secret deal. Ethan doesn't waste time. He kills the buyers and switches the briefcase Bew was carrying. That case had some super sensitive codes in it. He hands the briefcase off to a team waiting outside in a van. Just then, Ethan's phone buzzes, a reminder that it's his daughter Zoe's birthday. He scrambles to call her, but doesn't have coins, so he trades his wristwatch for change and calls her from payphone. Unfortunately, she doesn't pick up. He leaves a message instead. Back at the hotel, things go sideways. Bew recognizes Yasmin from somewhere, Karachi maybe, and things go bad. He kills her in an elevator and sets off chaos. A shootout explodes between Bew's men and the agents outside, going from the hotel lobby to the street. Ethan tries to chase Bew down, but starts feeling dizzy and weak. Even though he manages to wound Bew by shooting him in the leg, Bew still gets away. Ethan collapses. Next thing you know, Ethan wakes up in a hospital. The doctor gives him crushing news. He's got cancer. It's spread too much. Best case scenario, he's got 3 to 5 months to live. No cure, no hope. Ethan goes back to his apartment, only to discover it's already being lived in by a family. The father, Jew, explains they're refugees just trying to survive. Ethan is upset, but gets told by the police that kicking them out might land him in jail. So he lets them stay, at least until Jew's daughter gives birth. Later, Ethan calls up his ex-wife Tina. At first, she's reluctant to meet him, but he convinces her by saying it's important legal stuff. They visit a lawyer where Ethan signs his will. He quietly tells Tina about his illness, but doesn't want Zoe to know. He just wants to spend some time with her before he's gone. Tina says she'll let him see Zoe only if he agrees to give up CIA work for good. Ethan promises. They pick Zoe up from school, but she's not exactly thrilled to see her dad. She even asks if she should call him Ethan instead of Dad. Then she introduces her boyfriend Jonas, a charming guy who clearly annoys Ethan. Trying to bond, Ethan gives Zoe a purple bike, but she ditches him to ride the train with friends, leaving him stuck with the bike. Later on, Ethan runs into Vivi again. She brings up Zoe's name and shows him the watch he traded earlier. She takes him for a ride and offers him a job. One last mission. He refuses at first, but then she mentions a possible treatment, an experimental drug that could slow down the cancer. It's not a cure, but it might buy him more time. Ethan agrees, but only because he wants to live long enough to be there for Zoe. Vivi gives him the mission details. He needs to track down and kill the wolf. They head to a hotel where a man who knows the wolf's accountant is supposed to be. Vivi tells him there's only one guy inside, but Ethan finds 5. After a chaotic fight, none of the men give useful info. Ethan tells Vivi he'll only keep helping if she pays him $150,000 and gets a $1 million life insurance policy for his family. She agrees and gives him the first dose of that miracle drug. Meanwhile, Bew meets a man and hands him Ethan's photo, asking him to keep tabs on him. Back in Paris, Ethan visits Tina and Zoe's place and hears Zoe screaming. Thinking she's in danger, he breaks in, only to find her freaking out about a terrible haircut. Tina is furious because Ethan promised to make dinner and showed up hours late. She tells him she has to leave for London the next day and is planning to get a babysitter. Ethan insists on looking after Zoe himself. That night, Ethan gets hit with the drug side effects, starts seeing things and feeling out of it. He calls Vivi, who tells him to drink vodka to manage the hallucinations. Strange advice, but works. Next morning, Tina leaves, and Zoe walks out of her room wearing a red wig. She sees Vivi calling Ethan's phone, but Ethan just says it's his boss. He tries to get Zoe to use the bike he gave her, but she prefers to walk. As soon as she's out of sight, she yanks the wig off. Later, Ethan meets Vivi again. She hands him the promised money and reminds him not to let his heart rate get too high, or the drug won't work. She gives him his next target, a flashy car dealer named Hamilton who might know where to find a Wolf's accountant. Ethan heads to Hamilton's dealership, insults his employees, and roughs them up. Then he waits in Hamilton's office like it's no big deal. When Hamilton shows up, Ethan drags him back to his apartment and threatens his family to make him talk. In the middle of all this, Ethan's phone rings. It's Zoe's school. The principal wants to talk. Ethan tosses Hamilton into the trunk and heads to his daughter's school. There, he finds out Zoe got into trouble for punching someone. She says the other kid was making fun of a Pakistani girl, and Ethan actually backed her up, telling her that sometimes bullies need a punch to learn a lesson. Hamilton starts making a fuss from the trunk, so Ethan shuts him up with a quick punch. Once they're back in the car, Zoe gets frustrated with Ethan's nonstop coughing and storms off. But later, she calls to say sorry and asks him to meet her at this little amusement park she loves. At first, Ethan is focused on finding the accountant, but eventually gives in and meets her there. They ride some rides, sip hot chocolate, and just hang out. Not long after, Ethan heads to a shop and gets attacked by one of Boo's guys with a shotgun. The guy blasts him, but Ethan's wearing a bulletproof vest. They end up in a brutal brawl, and the guy nearly kills Ethan by stabbing him in the neck. Somehow, Ethan manages to shoot him before passing out. Back at home, Ethan sees a message pop up on Zoe's computer. She's heading to a tattoo parlor. Worried, he rushes over and finds her bag in a parked car. Breaking into it, he finds a flyer for a place called Spider. So he shows up at Hamilton's house to get answers. Turns out Spider is a wild party place. Ethan goes there and sees Zoe drinking with her friends. Feeling off again from the meds, he downs some vodka. He spots a group of guys harassing Zoe near the restroom. One tries to stop Ethan, but that's a bad move. Ethan wrecks them and gets Zoe out of there fast. Next morning, Zoe wakes up still in the same clothes, clearly with no memory of the night. Ethan tells her to change before school, and again tries to get her to use the bike. That's when she snaps and reminds him he never taught her how to ride. So, Ethan spends the day teaching her, and people around even clap for him. Later, she asks him why he disappeared from her life for so long. She even suspects he has another family. Ethan denies it and says it wasn't anything like that. They start bonding a bit more, and Zoe even admits she hit another girl at school for flirting with her boyfriend, Jonas. After dropping her at school, Ethan finally tracks down the accountant, Guido. He throws some gas into Guido's car, snatches him, and blows up their van. Back at the apartment, Ethan uses Guido to make a swap. He wants the detonation codes that Wolf and Bu have in exchange for a briefcase of secret codes. Later that night, Ethan finds out that Ju's daughter has had her baby. They name the baby after Ethan to thank him for letting them stay. Even though they plan to leave, Ethan tells them they're welcome to stay as long as they need. At one point, Ethan drops by to see Zoe and finds out Jonas asked her prom. She's nervous because she doesn't know how to dance. So Ethan teaches her. Tina walks in and sees them dancing, her eyes tearing up. The three of them sit down for dinner like a family again. Tina tells Ethan he should tell Zoe the truth about his health before it's too late. The next day, Vivi calls to save booze at the Grand Hotel. Ethan rushes there and spots Wolf getting into a car with Hamilton behind the wheel. He follows them and crashes their car off a bridge, but both bad guys manage to escape. Ethan lets Hamilton go, telling him to be with his family. Inside the subway station, Ethan's body starts giving out. He tries to take a shot at Wolf, but collapses. Wolf drags him onto the train tracks and tells Bu to finish him. Bu hesitates, waiting for the train to run Ethan over. But Ethan recovers just in time and shoves Bu into the path of the train, though he passes out right after. Ethan wakes up in Vivi's apartment. She tells him Wolf slipped away again, but the treatment's working. The next day, Ethan joins Tina, Zoe, Jonas, and his parents for a family dinner. Jonas' dad introduces Ethan to his business partner, who turns out to be Wolf. Both of them realize who the other is, but play it cool. They all end up at a club. Tina figures out Ethan's back on a mission and confronts him. He swears he's telling the truth. Then, out of nowhere, Wolf's men open fire. Ethan jumps into action, taking them all down one by one. He eventually traps Wolf in an elevator and shoots the cables, making the whole thing crash. Meanwhile, Jonas and Zoe find a quiet room and share their first kiss. Back at the elevator wreck, Wolf crawls out alive, but Ethan's too weak to shoot. He drops his gun and Wolf tries to grab it. Just then, Vivi shows up and kicks the weapon back to Ethan. But Ethan doesn't pull the trigger. He hesitates. So, she finishes Wolf herself. Weeks later, Ethan is staying at a beachside house with Zoe. Tina joins them, and Ethan opens up to both of them about everything, his regrets, his illness, and how he's ready to leave the past behind. Zoe asks for hot chocolate, and the family spends some quiet time together. Later, while alone, Ethan finds a syringe and a note from Vivi, wishing him a Merry Christmas. The shot is part of the treatment, her way of giving him more time with his family. From afar, Vivi watches the family together, keeping her promise in her own way. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if not, maybe press dislike twice just to be sure. But really, you should watch the whole movie. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.